Chairs, where we believe typology can save the world. I'm Amanda Fogelson.
And I'm Jesse Miller, and today we are continuing our series on each of the cognitive functions as they present in all of the positions. So today, this is Introverted Intuition as it presents in the hero function, which is for the INFJs and the INTJs, and I am an INFJ if you're new to our channel, so just heads up there. As we go through this, please keep in mind that Carl Jung talks about an ideal type average, so just because you can't relate to some of these things does not make you an INTJ or an INFJ. Yeah, I was like, where's the words there? I lost my word. Because if you are a little younger or a little older, it can vary, and we say that warning every time, so I'm not going to say it too much right now.
As we say in the beginning of literally every single video, anyone can be anything. And while we do wholeheartedly agree with that and stand by that, in this particular series that we are discussing, we want to point out the behaviors that are consistent across the board with INTJs and INFJs who use an I as their hero function. That being said, however, to really understand the functions and to get a good grasp of this, what we want you to take away from the video is the actual motivation behind the behavior. So while it's very easy, we have found for others to relate to these functions and to understand them a little bit better by giving behavioral examples. Really, it's the motivation behind the behavior that makes the function what it is.
So we have lots of resources on our channel. In fact, there should be a little eye right here that's going to pop up, and you can click it, and it will take you to the video for Introverted Intuition. So if you want to go and watch that, you can. But there is lots of resources on our channel for all of the functions, all of the types, all of the functions as they present in all of the positions, what is the cognitive stack, all the things. So go watch all this. Okay. So the hero function, this is the lead dominant function, and it was defined by Beebe, who is a Jungian analyst. It is the one that we get most of our identity from. Introverted intuition is a perceiving function, so it is the way that you take in the world. So they are taking in the world, and they have this internal system, this internal series of philosophical abstract concepts in their head. And they may not even know they have it, but they have one, and all of the information that they get is automatically poured through that function. But there's lots of thinking, so lots of them spending time in their head. When you have a lead introverted intuitive user, they want to incorporate all of the things into their introverted intuitive vision.
So for a quick example, my husband had come over here just a few weeks ago, just to stop by real quick, and he had mentioned that we were going to start watching a TV show together because it was the last season. And he was like, yeah, Amanda and I are about to start watching this. And Jesse turned to him and goes, that's such an INFP video, or INFP TV show.
Why did I say that? What was that about?
It was a very sappy TV show, and it was a sad TV show.
Oh, I remember. Because, okay, so the point of that is...
But it's because she filters, like, it's one thing that he says that has nothing at all
to do with MBTI or Carl Jung.
But she immediately referenced, like, it was, right? I have so many of them, but that's just the one that was, like, a funny one that was right in the front of my head. That every single thing that we do, if we talk about anything, or if we are talking about someone, or if I'm venting about someone or anything like that, every single time that we're talking about people, it usually is like, oh, I wonder what function their parent is, because that's definitely a parent function that's coming out, like, every time.
So just for regular NI users who aren't obsessed with MBTI, there are other things. Like, I spent a long time as a vegan, and that was like, it wasn't just like how I ate, it was my lifestyle. So, and then I was really ridiculous about it, but it extended to everything. It extended to the cosmetics I used, to the products I let into our house. Like, if I talked to somebody and they were like really big, like they were like, oh yeah, I work in a meat factory or something crazy, like I would filter them through that. Yes, it was so ridiculous.
Honestly, the way that she just worded that is exactly what NI is. NI, whatever you have in your NI, becomes your lifestyle.
Yes, like, it does.
It is an overwhelming and overarching idea of what your life is going to look like, and everything filters through that.
It does. Super annoying. I mean, it can be good because you can also really get super in depth with things.
Yeah.
But it does not have a whole lot of practical use, if I'm just being honest. And that's honestly my SE inferior coming out. But anyway, we're moving on. So, struggles of the hero, introverted, intuitive. Because a lot of times, like if you read 16 personalities, which is not really MBTI, but if you read any of the type profiles, pretty much they say a lot of positive for the hero function, but the hero function can have a lot of negatives. So there's this condition called heroic inflation, when you become overly involved in your dominant function. And for the INTJ and the INFJ, that means that they undervalue social norms. So they're like, screw society, I'm going to stick inside my head. Or they don't get anything done. They spend all day thinking and they don't actually ever do anything. And I just want to shake the ones that I meet like that, because I'm like, you have so much to give, share it with the world.
And you have other functions, no matter which type you are, you have other functions that you can lean into that will help you actually get these ideas accomplished. And they should be accomplished because they're great ideas that no one else on earth can really come up with. It's very unique. You have the ability to do it. It's not like you're an NI user and you're just like, well, this is all I got. I just got my ideas. I'm nothing more than my ideas. So lean into those functions. A little bit of self-love for you.
This is particularly tricky if you are a younger person. So if you're somebody in like your early 20s, when you are, or as a child, your dominant function typically comes out, like almost always comes out first. It's like the big thing that people see about you. So if you were an introverted intuitive child, it means that you were probably very much inside your own head, inside your own thoughts, and you were questioning a lot of things. And a lot of types can look like that, but that's probably what it looked like. And so if you never stepped out, if you never were forced to extrovert, you can become kind of like obsessed with your own. Introverted intuition already runs the risk of believing that their dreams are just as real as reality. And I hear that from a lot of introverted intuitives, not just me. So like, it can be a problem for them. So if they are not leaning into their other functions, if they're relying way too much on NI, existing in reality is very challenging. And they can have like failure to launch because nothing matters, because all that matters is the ideas in their head.
What's in their head. Yeah.
So that is definitely a hardcore struggle of NI. Sometimes they can have too many visions. Like they can have too much of their vision. And if they can't bring their vision forth into the world exactly as it is in their head, then they get stuck. So I've seen this with like INTJs. They like to make things and they like to structure things and to bring out things into an efficient way. That's like what their jam is. And so like, if an INTJ believes that the only way that it can be the most efficient, effective thing is inside their head, then they're not going to bring it out into reality, because they struggle with this sort of idealized vision. And it can be very hard for introverted intuitives, first off, to ever bring it out into the world. And then if they do and it doesn't match, oh my God, it's just like the end of the world for them. Time is weird for them. I've talked about that in other videos, so I'm just going to mention it. Time is weird. We love abstract concepts, so a lot of times, like, when we focus on what time is, we're like, that's not real. No. Time's not real. It's whatever. They overcomplicate the heck out of everything.
Everything. I thought you were going to say something specific, and I was going to correct you and say everything.
Yes. They overcomplicate all of the things all of the time, because they're always looking for hidden meanings, deeper connections, and they may not be there.
They won't take anything at face value. Like something, there's always something behind what's in front of them.
Suspicious NI users can be, and lots of types can be, and you can be an NI user, and never mind. Okay, so moving on. It's the hero. We're focusing on the hero. Because they understand all of the nuance of introverted intuition, it can make it really frustrating when other people can't see it. So like, this is another thing that hero NI has a tendency to do. It's like they will see these connections, and I've heard it from INFJs and INTJs. Why can't you just see this? Why doesn't this make sense? Because it's just like when they're sharing those ideas with you, if you have an NI dominant in your life, and they choose to share an idea with you that came from their NI, that's a big deal. They don't like to do that, and it's not up for debate. Like, so you shouldn't pick it apart. That's a mistake. But if they present it to you, they can get really frustrated when other people don't just get it, because to them they've worked so hard on it, and it just like, it makes perfect sense. And so like, if they have an idea, like a theory about politics or a theory about history or religion or any of the weird things that we're all into, or some of us are into, it's just, it can be really discouraging if they share it and it's not understood, because NI dominants have a tendency to not understand that you are, if you count all of them, both introverted and extroverted, you are less than 7% of the world, so everybody's not going to understand your ideas.
I have a good example of this, actually. when we first started doing TCH, there were a lot of times where we would be going through the video and I would kind of like stop us and be like, hey, we need to explain this before we start diving into it. And she was like, but why? Like, why do we have to do that? And it's because for her, this is her life. This is MBTI is what everything filters through. And so if that's the case, then why would I ever have to explain the basics of this life? Shouldn't everyone know it? And then randomly, I mean, I had been saying that in every single video. And then randomly one day, she came to me and she was just like, I just realized that not everyone in the world knows their type. And it's just like, it's an assumption that like, because I live this in my head. I wake up, I breathe this, this is what everything is. And so it's kind of odd to then look out into the real world and you're like, oh wait, this is only a world in my head. This is actually not reality.
Mm-hmm. We don't have the greatest relationship with reality anyway, so it can be really tricky for us. And it can also present a hardcore challenge in changing the introverted intuitive's mind. So society needs a healthy introverted intuitives because INFJs and INTJs,
you guys have some amazing ideas, again, that people are never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to think of. Like ideas that are just so far disconnected from reality and from the real world.
But they're deep. They're
so deep. You just need to bring it out to the world.
I know. I'm saying this as somebody who has a philosophy degree, like literally the most useless degree in the world. Like, why? I've got some other degrees too, but it's just because so for introverted intuitives, this is like my biggest thing for you guys. A lot of the world doesn't think the things that we do matter. So like a lot of the world has trouble with things like philosophy. Like I just said, I have a philosophy degree and none of my degrees are in anything really practical. But that's okay, I think, because deep thought is where we can get some really good and beautiful like thought leaders, and we can get some really good like parents if that's what you want to do. And you are just like spilling philosophy to your child, like how open-minded, how not even open-minded necessarily, but just how well-rounded will your child be if you are sharing these things. Because a lot of times there's a lot of pressure on NI hero people to produce, to bring things
like worldwide changes.
Yeah, or just even to do something worthwhile, especially if you're surrounded by SI dominance. And I did not think about this before I started this video, but I just want to give you guys permission to think, like to do what you do, like to think and process, and to spend all day like reading like 18th century Russian authors if that's your jam, or to look at religion and think about the implications of the history of Islam and the current war in the Middle East. If that's what you want to do, even if you don't see it as having practical value, people tell you don't have practical value, forget that. Be unapologetically you. Did you have some self-growth for the NIs before we...
I think I said it earlier. Honestly, it's exactly what I said earlier. You guys have all the resources inside of yourself to make what your head sees as an actual reality for everyone around you. And yes, while you should absolutely be able to be in your head and do all the things that make you you, those ideas are so worthwhile. And if you can ever find it within yourself or find a partner that's going to be able to help you put the ideas out into the real world, it is so special and so needed.
Because being human is hard.
And hopefully this makes it just a little bit easier.
Thank you for watching our video.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things. If you haven't already heard about TCH and what we're doing here, then please go watch Welcome to Typecast Heroes.
It's probably going to be up in a little eye.
There you go. And if you have not already interviewed, then please leave a comment below or contact us on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, or Discord, and we'll get you set up.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's gather around the type fire and sing our type fire song. Our MBTITYPOLOGY song. And if you feel uncomfortable, then know there's nothing wrong.